Hello and welcome to Paper of the Week. This is my second paper in 2 weeks in a row. Matty will be back, he'll be on board doing it. So we're going to get real nerdy today. I love all this sort of stuff, the biochemistry of what goes on inside the cells. And we're going to be talking about this thing called uncoupling protein. And you might go, well, what's an uncoupling protein? I'll explain it. The first thing I'll explain is there are 5 types of uncoupling protein. And these are fairly recently sort of found. They were only found in 1996. When I was studying naturopathy, weirdly. So uncoupling protein 1, 2, 3, 4, and guess what? Number 5. So there's 5 uncoupling proteins. Number 1 is found in your adipose tissue, your fat tissue, particularly your brown or beige fat tissue you've got in your body. Now this, of course, is required to keep yourself warm. So this is good for what we call thermogenesis, and in fact the first uncoupling protein was called thermogen because it was found to increase thermogenesis. And then, of course, there is uncoupling protein 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, 4 and 5 are found in the brain, and they're looking at uncoupling protein treatments to treat things like Parkinson's disease and those sorts of things. So, but what we're going to focus on is primarily uncoupling proteins 2 and 3. Now, what they do is they simply allow protons or hydrogen ions, they're both the same thing, to leak back into the mitochondria where you make all your energy. Now, why is that important? That's because when you put hydrogen ions back into where there's, free radicals like oxygen, then hydrogen and oxygen combine to form H2O, which is water. So it neutralizes free radicals. So this is one of the enzyme systems you've got in your body where you can neutralize free radicals. Now, in this paper of the week, we're talking about uncoupling protein 2 in cardiovascular disease. Now, as you possibly know, free radicals are associated with cardiovascular disease because you have to oxidize the LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, for it to become bad in the arteries. So if we can reduce the oxidation, then of course we can reduce the cardiovascular disease. And what they've found in this paper is that uncoupling protein 2 is the main mechanism by which you can reduce free radicals in the cells, which reduces cardiovascular disease. And that's what this paper is saying. Now, we've just recently recorded a podcast where we featured uncoupling proteins, and there are certain drugs and agents that boost, uncoupling protein 2. Exercise also boosts it, conjugated linoleic acid, and of course, some of the drugs we've talked about in the podcast, some of the nasty ones like dinitrophenol and these sorts of ones, and they basically burn fat. So by activating uncoupling protein, it creates heat in the body. So when you create heat in the body, you burn more energy off as heat. So it's very, very good for weight loss as well. But also by activating uncoupling protein 2, then it improves your cardiovascular health. And this is one of the many reasons why exercise is very, very good for your heart. And also it is extraordinarily healthy for your weight loss as well. So also the special diets like the ketogenic diet can upregulate uncoupling protein. And this is a great new innovation for the target of reducing body fat and improving cardiovascular health. Now the paper goes on and talks about the biochemical mechanism, and there's a beautiful diagram there which looks a little bit technical to some, but it'll be in the paper. We'll get a close-up of that. And basically it shows, of course, that uncoupling protein, when it's activated, the H+ ion goes into the cell and that blocks free radicals. And if you can block free radicals, it blocks hypertension, diabetic vasculopathy, coronary heart disease, cardiomyopathy, pulmonary hypertension, and brain injury. So it's very, very important you do that. And this is regulated by AMPK, and we've talked about AMPK before. It's a great enzyme system in the body that is activated when you exercise. So it's a bit technical, all this. And remember, this is very new information. Uncoupling proteins were only discovered about 20 years ago. So hydrogen ions go into the mitochondria to either produce energy or to go on uncoupling protein, which produces heat and basically enables you therefore to burn energy. So that's why these drugs that increase uncoupling protein are fantastic for fat loss as well. So the paper goes on and talks about a lot of the recent literature on uncoupling protein 2 and how it benefits people with any sort of cardiovascular disease. So what I've urged, the take-home message from out here is weirdly to have a healthy fat diet, because fats increase uncoupling protein 2. So eat your healthy fats, your nuts and seeds, exercise, supplement with things like CLA, and it will be very good for your cardiovascular health and fat loss. Now, you probably know that already, that exercise is good for your heart. It's pretty self-explanatory, but this paper is looking at another mechanism by which it does that. And if we can understand the mechanisms of exercise and how other drugs and other fats work, we can improve the health of vastly more people who may not be able to exercise enough, or just to enhance the people that exercise already. So it's a fantastic paper and really interesting. So look into uncoupling proteins and look into heart disease, and you'll see the amazing correlation between the both. Well, that's been Paper of the Week, and it's been fun bringing it to you, and hopefully you'll understand the interesting uncoupling proteins that are found in the body. Anyway, you have a great day. Thank you.